It was the mid-1990s, and a band best known for the song Wonderwall really hated it when you compared them to the Beatles. This was also the time when music fans who liked poorly written trivia were told to never mind the buzzcocks. Trainspotting wanted you to choose life, and the Lee brothers put aside their differences in Super Double Dragon. Hello, my name is Cyril, and that's just one of the Super NES games that we're going to be talking about as we continue our journey through Superplay's Top 600. This is the show where we're reading verdicts and counting down every review published in the pages of Superplay magazine. Even if that means traveling to Stonehenge, where a man's a man and the children dance to the pipes of Pan. Last week we left off with number 401, which means that today it's time to focus our attention on 400 through 351. Oh boy, we have a whole lot of ground to cover and not much time before the prayers of devils fill the midnight sky. So let's dive right into the next 50 games in our Super NES countdown. Number 400, 3D Baseball. Only true baseball fans are going to get their money's worth. A fluent knowledge in Japanese is essential to work out what all these options mean. Number 399, Super Off-Road. A fast and funny off-road racing game great with two players, but too small and too short to be worth this sort of money. Number 398, SD Great Battle 3. Some great graphics and characters, but no one will be impressed with the stale, unchallenging action. Cute though, and anime fans will appreciate it. Number 397, Mech Warrior. Pretty good graphics, and the nearest thing yet to an assault suit simulator. This is great as far as it goes, but sadly that isn't far enough. Number 396, Total Carnage. Cleaning up all the gore would have been forgivable if the game was as good as the original, but it isn't. Although it looks like Total Carnage, this version fails to capture anything but a tiny percentage of the frantic, over-the-top, kinetically shot action of the original. If, like me, you love Smash TV, then my advice is to go and play it some more. This is a step in the wrong direction. Number 395, Extra Innings. Neatly presented, but ludicrously fast. Number 394, Wing Commander, The Secret Missions. Despite the so-called extended gameplay and the more involved plot, the secret missions still failed to ring my bell and became increasingly tedious as I played. As far as I'm concerned, the secret missions are best off remaining a secret. Number 393, Drakkhen. Fantasy role-playing games aren't too common on the Super Nintendo, not in English at any rate, and Drakkhen is consequently a welcome release. It's not exactly brilliant, though. Number 392, Bassin's Black Bass. It sounds stupid, and it is, but I have to admit that Bassin's is oddly compulsive, perhaps for its sheer novelty and laid-back style. Ugh, there goes my career as a games journalist. Number 391, Super Strike Gunner. Extremely dull and run-of-the-mill, but still quite enjoyable in its own little way. Number 390, Super Slapshot. A fast and furious ice hockey game, but NHL PA hockey is so much better. Number 389, Speed Racer. A disappointing game. The decent racing bits are marred by the sloppy platform sections. Number 388, Aaahh! Real Monsters. It's a tad more fun than the text above makes out, but not by much. By Mario, Lost Hikings, or Pitfall 2 instead. Number 387, Zool. Detailed backgrounds, fast, smooth scrolling, and stomping music. Tinny, sparse sound effects, poor animations, and repetitive gameplay. On balance, average. Yeah, definitely average. Number 386, Marvin Missions, Daffy Duck. Nice looking, fun to play, and with plenty of Daffy Duckness. You've already got lots of games like this though. And take it from us, you don't need another one. Number 385, Cutthroat Island. Fair to middling scrolling slash 'em up that tries to incorporate new ideas but ultimately falls flat. Number 384, Champion World Class Soccer. Absolutely not the Ryan Giggs of Super NES football games. Except that it quite obviously is, if you see what I mean. I feel like this review would make a lot more sense if I knew who Ryan Giggs was. Oh wait, I know. Let's ask our British correspondent, Lorne. Hey Lorne, can you help decipher this review?
Well, if we're talking about the same Ryan Giggs, we're talking about one of the great footballing heroes of the footballing Goliath, Manchester United, who were dominant in the early 90s through to the mid-2000s. And of course, Ryan Giggs also famous for pioneering the super injunction when he was having an affair with his brother's wife. An all-round great guy indeed.
Oh, I don't even know how to process that. Maybe I need to actually watch this guy in action to fully understand.
This is my untidy bedroom.
This is probably the room where 1,000 women want to break into. It's yeah, you're right. It's untidy. You're right.
Yeah.
It's not a waterbed or anything like that.
No, it's not. No.
Are you a big sleeper?
Yeah, I am really.
Love a good nap in the afternoon, don't they?
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time asleep.
Not in the afternoons really. I like a lie though. I don't usually leave training.
How many hours a night?
Usually about 9.5.
I'm not talking Saturday nights here. Friday nights as well.
About 9.5, 10.
That's good sleeping.
Number 383, Fun and Games. Okay, so it's aimed at younger folks, but with the advent of multimedia, the quality and imagination behind this card should have been much better. This could have been more accurately titled Questionable Fun and Very Poor Games. Number 382, RoboCop 3. A difficult arcade game that might appeal to real RoboCop fans, but otherwise proves to be frustrating and altogether unremarkable. It's a real shame there's no digitized speech, too. Number 381, Pipe Dream. Neat race against time puzzle game format that's well presented, but lacking the variety, number of levels, and the essential head-to-head two-player mode to make it a real classic. Almost identical and cheaper on home computer formats. Number 380, F1 Grand Prix. This is the nearest rival to Super F1 Circus in look and feel, but in playing it, it proves to be far inferior. Graphically, F1 Grand Prix is pretty much on par. If that was the only purchase criteria, then there'd be little to choose between then. But in every other way, it comes across as a much shallower and less sorted game. Number 379, Rushing Beat Shura. It doesn't look too bad and certainly plays well enough, but it's got all the last ability of an M&S prawn mayonnaise sandwich. Number 378, Q*Bert 3. Gently amusing and nice to look at, but not for anyone other than the most casual player. Number 377, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 3. Dedicated strategy war gamers will be in Anorak heaven for a couple of weekends. I know I was. Normal human beings should steer well clear. Number 376, Blues Brothers. A nice little platform game, though a bit simplistic and outclassed by Mario et al. And it's not too easy, unlike most of its type. Number 375, Big Hurt Baseball. A realistic and in-depth sim. There's immediate gameplay here, good look, and strategy. But it's all a waste, cause, after all, it's baseball. Number 374, Flying Hero. An average shoot-'em-up with sturdy gameplay and a sense of humor. But hardly a must-buy. Full of cute things, though. Number 373, Battle Pinball. The Super NES has a hard time with pinball, and the release of this improves matters not a jot. It has lots of jolly ideas and a neat line and table graphics, but disappoints everywhere else. Number 372, Dragon View. An infuriatingly entertaining RPG awash with compounding minor flaws. It improves vastly once you're about a quarter in and have found all the shortcuts and magic stuff. Perseverance, as in life and abominably moral cartoons, will pay off. Number 371, The Fortress of Fury. A competent and fairly attractive shoot-'em-up, but one starved of decent gameplay. Number 370, Super Ninja Kun. If platform games were cars, this one would have electric windows and a sunroof. But it would still be the same color as all the rest and would still be looked on with scorn by the Honda Fireblades, which represent decent, imaginative games. It's a crap metaphor, but you can see what I mean. Number 369, Super Double Dragon. Some varied and enjoyable gameplay, but why does it all have to look so primitive? With more variety in the later levels, this might have been more memorable. Fun for a while, but a bit of a waste of money. Number 368, X-Kaliber 2097. There's some decent bits in here, but the package as a whole lacks the quality required to make it altogether recommendable. Number 367, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 4. For months to come, armchair strategists across the world will be united in a state of Anorak Nirvana by Romance of the Three Kingdoms 4's politics and intrigue. But, to be honest, it's still nowhere near as good as it ought to be. Number 366, Warlock. No, really, don't bother. Save your money and rent the film loads of times. Presumably, Julian still gets a cut every time the film is hired out. So, get your friends to rent it, too. Number 365, Lethal Enforcers. The action may be a little dull in one-player mode, but the two-player is a real hoot. And that'll cost you a hefty 93 quid. Ugh. Number 364, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. A pretty standard, fairly old-fashioned platformer that only occasionally shows any spark of real life. Playable enough, but shambles along aimlessly, much like De Niro in the film, and ends up pretty unmemorable. Number 363, Pac-Attack. Not a bad effort, really, but it suffers from the simple fact that the competition is so much better. Get Super Puyo Puyo instead. Number 362, Hardball III. It looks like there's loads going on, but in reality, it's a pretty limited and unexciting affair. Number 361, Alcahest. As a great-looking slasher/blaster with clever power-ups, this works wonderfully. Anybody expecting much more, however, will be disappointed. Number 360, Exhaust Heat. A reasonably sound driving game that plays quite a bit better than it looks. And let's face it, it does look a bit naff, apart from the pit scenes, which are great. But, and it's a very big but, it's nowhere near as good as Super Mario Kart. Number 359, Harley's Humungous Adventure. Cleverly thought out, fairly inventive platform game with its fair share of good bits, but very average visuals. It's got potential, even if it isn't always realized. Number 358, International Tennis Tour. A solid enough tennis game, but there are 2 or 3 others that are better, in which we'd suggest you buy those instead. Number 357, Spindizzy Worlds. A nice idea with its distinct air of nostalgia about it, but it's a bit too patchy and empty feeling to hold one's interest for long. The original Spectrum game was more fun, lots of exploration, and less of the crummy puzzles. Number 356, Super Professional Baseball. Not bad if you can get used to the unusual camera angles. Number 355, Super Off-Road, the Baja. Simple and fun to play with enough challenge to last for a little while. But it's nothing very new, and the 2-player mode's extremely disappointing. Number 354, Sonic Blast Man. Gameplay-wise, just another average beat-em-up. But it's got nice bits, and Sonic Blast Man himself is great. Fab for fans of the genre, but no one else. Number 353, Power Drive. It's like Micro Machines never existed. Old-fashioned, bordering on primitive. Power Drive's like a fairly good mid-80s Amiga game. It's playable enough, sure, but come on. It's not exactly the kind of thing you bought a Super NES for. Number 352, Aerobiz. A well-presented attempt at a little strategy on the Super NES, but it's too serious and down to earth. There's just not enough to do. And finally, number 351, Goof Troop. Gather around, Goofy lovers, and hear the news. Goof Troop is fun for a while, has some neat puzzles, and will fill your breast with a minor swelling of enjoyment in two-player mode. But it's too easy, too short, and your Super Nintendo won't blow up through overexertion. So what did we learn this episode? Well, one of the things that really surprised me about making this list is how many baseball games there are on the Super NES. Between the American games and the baseball titles coming from Japan, there are almost more baseball reviews than football. Either type of football. Also, can you believe how many overhead racing games there were on the Super NES? I don't know about you, but when I think about the SNES racers, I always picture the Mode 7 effects of F-Zero or Mario Kart. Yet there are just so many that didn't seem even remotely interested in pushing the hardware. Of course, most of these games didn't even come to the US, and based on the reviews, I'm starting to see why. The good news is that we're almost into the 70% range. We ended this episode with 69%, which means that we're going to start seeing some real recommendations. We'll pick that up on December 10th when we debut the 6th episode of Superplay's Top 600. That means that we'll be exactly halfway through the countdown, if you can believe that. For now, I need to get out of here. There's a goat over there that's been looking at me the wrong way this whole time, and I'm not a big fan of the chanting going on in the background. See you on Friday. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Superplay's Top 600. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we've been posting 2 episodes a week right up to New Year's Eve. And hey, don't worry if you've missed an episode, it happens to the best of us. Because there's a whole playlist that you can watch with the complete countdown. You won't miss a damn thing. Now, here's the question I have for you. What did you learn from this Superplay episode? You heard my thoughts, now I want to hear yours. In other news, we'll be back later this week with a review of the new Sam & Max compilation, followed on Friday by episode 6 of Superplay's Top 600. If that sounds good to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.